All right, so after waving hands in clouds, okay, let's say this is the last waving hands in cloud, the last turn on waving hands in clouds. Actually, let me start further back so I have a little more room. So after the last waving hands in clouds, low single whip, we did this in the last little video, hands change, right hand comes up to form a beak, right heel down in front, left hand is scooped underneath. So let me do that again, that wasn't very smooth. Okay, cross, scooping up the water, hand forms the beak, heel down in front. Next move is low single whip. So low single whip is a lot like the other single whip in that we're going to step out, open up, toe turns in as we're turning with the hips, and then left hip will do this little hitch to press, okay? But with this one, we want to at least get the feel of sinking way down low. It doesn't matter nearly as much how physically low you get as much as internally getting the feel for sinking down low. But I'm going to demonstrate it physically sinking down low, about as low as I can get it. Okay. So after we've done, let's say this is the last waving hands in clouds turn, I'm going to gather up water, right hand forms the beak into gather water, right heel down in front. Okay? So, low single whip, I'm going to shift the weight to the right foot, I'm going to sink down into the right foot. Okay, so I want this sink to go pretty much straight down, but I'm going to give you a little tip on that too. Pretty much straight down, and reach out behind you because we want the heels this way for a bow stance. Okay, reach pretty much behind you with the left heel down, and then open up. If you can, with the turning of the hips, bring the toe in, do the hip hitch and press. Okay, on a better floor I can usually get that a little bit lower, and we've got tight space here. So again, let's go from the last turn. Okay, waving hands in clouds, gather water, heel down in front, shift the weight. I'm going to sink down into the right foot, reach out with the left foot, open up, right heel releases in, hip does the hitch, and press. Okay? Couple things to note on this. On a softer floor, one that's not carpet, you can kind of slide your foot a little bit as you do it, but you want to make sure that this knee does not go past the toe. When you're sinking down lower, that's going to have more strain on it if it goes past the toe, okay? Another thing you want to watch out for is, again, it's not nearly as important how physically low you sink. So when you're doing this, you don't want to reach for it. You don't want to tilt over to get low. You want the low to come from sitting down into the stance, okay? So don't reach over for it. You want the posture to be fairly upright. You might get a little bit of a tilt in it, but you want to have a sense of alignment rather than, we never want to reach in Tai Chi. Okay? So let me do this one more time in this direction, and I'll try and fit it in other directions too. So, last waving hands in clouds, gather water, shift the weight, low single whip. I'm going to sink down into my right foot, reach behind me with the left foot, open up. Right toe comes in, hip does the hitch to turn and press. And then we'll get into the next move. Something else you want to watch out for is you don't want this knee collapsing in. So the leg can be at an angle, but you still want the knee pointing in the same direction as the toe. You don't want to bend it in like that. Okay? All right, let's do this. What's the best way? Let's do it from the back. So, across. This is the last one. Gather water. I didn't leave myself enough room. So across, gather water, heel down, shift the weight. I have to take a smaller step. I'm still not leaving myself enough room. Shift the weight, reach out with the left heel, down as low as you feel comfortable, and open up. Hip does the hitch and press. Oh, and I forgot to bring the right toe in. Hip does the hitch and press. Okay? So again, you don't have to physically sink down low if you don't want to. When you're doing this, what you want the feel for is, I'm going to physically exaggerate this, but you want this feel. Even if I'm staying up this high, I want the feel of sinking down. So I can stay up this high and still do a low single whip. Okay? All right, let me do this from the side just so you can see. Let's say I've done the waving hands in clouds, and I'm going to get as close here as I can. Gather water. Shift the weight. I'm still too close. I'm going to sink down and out and open up. Toe comes around. Hip does the hitch and press. Okay? Let's do it from this side. I'm going to have to sneak out here. Done the waving hands in clouds. Gather water. I know my foot is probably not in the camera view, but I'm going to sink down, reach out, and out. You'll notice I'm fairly upright here. And hip hitch, toe comes in, hip hitch, and press. Okay? All right, so a little trick. If you decide you want to sink lower, physically sink lower, there's a little trick here that actually becomes a kind of integral part of a lot of your Tai Chi. It deals with the Kwa. So, when I've come around to, let me step back here a little bit. So here's the gather water, okay? So instead of just going straight down, you'll find you'll be able to sink down lower if you close up this Kwa. So knee is still straight ahead with the toe, but I'm turning the torso and folding this fold here, the Kwa, folding that in this way. If I fold in, so if I go straight down, this is about as far as I can get. If I fold this Kwa, I can get just a little bit lower, reach out. So the tricky part is if I fold this way, this foot is reaching out really behind me. Okay, you don't want to let this drift out here. But if you can fold this Kwa, this will let you sink down lower through the move. And the right toe will come in. Hip hitch and press. Okay? So this, folding this Kwa can help get you a little sink down lower. Okay? It kind of helps your body alignment stay in alignment while you kind of fold it in. So I'm going to do it one more time so you can see it with that. And waving hands in clouds, let me step here, gather water, okay? So watch this hip, this fold, this Kwa. I'm going to fold in, arms are still in front of my torso, reach behind me, and then open up. So when I reach behind me, it may have to be that my foot doesn't start off pointing out here. It may be that I get that point as I turn into it. And then the right toe comes in, hip hitch, and press. All right? All right, that's low single whip.